Finland blocks the border crossings to stop migrants, it says, were sent by Russia. What they're essentially implying, too, is that there is sleepers involved in these refugees. So, again, this is a big deal. This is a NATO country, and for what we have been going through for the last month and the bigger picture that we have seen for the last 5 years, this is definitely a huge, huge flag. It says a view of the border between Russia and Finland at the Nuujama border checkpoint in Lappeenranta, Finland, in November 15th. It says an increasing number of citizens from third countries have arrived via Russia to Finnish border crossing points without proper documentation this autumn. Finland has no longer allowed people to enter via that entrance. And it says Finland will erect barriers at 4 crossings on its border with Russia from midnight, officials said on Friday, in a bid to stem an increase in migrants that Helsinki says has been orchestrated by Moscow. So, again, there is hints here that they are possibly soldiers. It says Finland has accused Russian authorities of funneling migrants to the crossings in retaliation for its decision to increase defense cooperation with the United States, an assertion dismissed by the Kremlin. It says barriers will go up at 4 of the 9 crossings with Russia at Valama, Nuujama, Imatra, and Naralia in its southeast, the Finnish border guard said. It says our aim is to use the barrier devices to prevent entry. The border guard's head of international affairs, Matti Pikaniti, not kidding, the measures were a response to the changes in Russia's border policy. He added, 300 asylum seekers, mostly from Iraq, Yemen, Somalia, and Syria, have arrived in Finland this week, according to the border guard. Gosh, 300? I think that's like every minute here, but it says nearly 100 have entered Finland from Russia on midday Friday alone, officials said. Finland shares, again, an 833-mile border with Russia that also serves as the EU's external border. Helsinki angered Moscow when it joined the NATO military alliance in April after decades of non-alignment following Russia's invasion of UKR. It says from Saturday, asylum seekers arriving via Russia will only be allowed to hand in their applications at 2 northern border crossings at Salla and Vartius. It says, Pitt-Kennedy said. Finland's ombudsman for non-discrimination said on Thursday Helsinki still had a duty under international treaties and EU law to allow asylum seekers to seek protection. But essentially what they're going to do is just take the applications in one place and probably toss them in the garbage. It says we are preparing to provide immediate assistance through the additional deployment of our standing corps officers. Something is not right here. Again, this is something does not sit right with this. Now, we have been talking about our own border for a very long time. Again, especially the last 3 months since more information has come out. There's been documentation of very weird rituals happening on the other side of our southern border. With, say, 18 to 25-year-olds from China, from Iraq, from Yemen, from Syria, all these places that essentially really, really dislike us right now, or at least Iran. And we've talked about sleepers before. They actually came out with the stat that said about 1 in every 100 people that came in from Iran, they believed to be a sleeper, and that's the 1 out of 100 that they caught, not the ones that they did not. We are also being warned by FBI, by DHS, and by even the Department of Energy has put out side notes about a potential event, multiple potential events happening to our cyber infrastructure and, of course, our banking infrastructure and, of course, now to our power grid. So something is brewing, and if people don't see it, they really need to open their eyes right now, because I hope and I'm praying that a lot of people are going to see this, and I hope that they have a basic plan with their friends and family. That is what we are going to talk about with much, much more tonight. In fact, there's a lot. So we're going to go through it very, very quickly because it is a late show, and I know you East Coasters want to go to sleep. So we'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. Remember, you have access to every single article, tweet, video, picture, document we're going to share you here today. And there's actually a lot that you really need to go see on the website today, especially with all of the tweets and different videos that we're going to be sharing there. There's a whole battle that we're not going to talk about, of course, with Shapiro and Candace Owens. That's all on the overflow. There's all sorts of crazy stuff going on. Most of it is over what side people are taking or side they're not taking or the things they're not saying about this current conflict. I actually agree with Owens on some of the things that she said about recent events, about basically there is no right and wrong at this point, because even if you don't say something, you could get in trouble because everyone is fired up, everyone is emotional. It is much like after 2001. I have been telling people for years, and this is what I truly believe, when there is a big event, especially multiple big events going on at the same time, and it has us fired up and red in the eyes and ready to do something, that especially knowing the history of our governments and the world and how it's being run right now, that it's most likely on purpose, and that everything was 4D chest out, and they are literally trying to get us to have a certain kind of reaction. They are pitting young versus old, right versus left, religion versus religion, this versus that. Every kind of opposite side is now at battle. And this is, of course, just months before we go and pick a new leader, right? So the quotes by Mr. Gilley and others that said that they believe that the next leader picking will be hung, that we will have a civil conflict. Some have said that we're going to have a blackout, cyber event, FBI is warning, DHS, all of these different groups are warning of something. And there's a good chunk of people that are like, it's all going to be nothing. I don't think so. Not this time. Not after 4 years ago, and not this time. I think something, it's here. It's the stuff that we have all talked about for years, and now we're finally seeing it play out. The agenda has shrank. It's sped up. And now we are seeing the actual things we predicted. Multiple countries are now assigning, you have to give your name and your address and all of your information to even be online. They have new content moderation laws. What is happening with the FCC, which we talked about over on news, which is an important video, very urgent video to watch. So make sure to go check that out. Let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Fugle fam. I'm doing just fine.
Bible Talk 777, thank you guys. Thank you for your support tonight. And it's been rough covering all of this really just negative stuff. So thank you guys. I appreciate all of your kind words, and thank you for everybody that supports. Really appreciate it. It's been a really tough year. Bus Luck, thank you for subscribing. Mike Kappas, thank you for subscribing. Blissfully Leia, thank you. Says, hi, Adam, Dex, mods, and family. Hope you're having a most blessed day ever. Much love and respect. You are appreciated. God bless. Thank you. I appreciate that, Blissfully. And then Lavinia Strobel and Buddy Stoic, thank you for subscribing. And Trilicit, thank you for being one of the first ones out of the gate. I appreciate that. And then remember to go check out our mods at marfooglenews.com/friends. You can find all of our wonderful mods. Again, they have great channels. They have great books on Amazon if you're talking about Chance. Ilea such creative, awesome person covering stuff from California. Trinity has amazing edited videos. Make sure to go check her out. And Wages World is now covering all of the solar events. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but there has been crazy static for the last 24 hours. I shocked myself turning on a light switch last night so bad. I mean, I've never, ever experienced this. And I've been shocked by stuff. I've been shocked by like shopping carts and things like that, like touching it, grabbing it off of the stack. Last night, I felt like I actually got shocked from the wall from the power. But it wasn't. It was the nail, one of the screws on the other thing. And I had one of my family members check it out. I thought it might be an electrical thing. It was completely static. And then 5 minutes later, I shocked myself on a blanket. I mean, it's just nuts. And I think that has to be solar, right? Have they proved that solar stuff can do that? Because I feel like every time we have solar events, the static electricity just goes nuts. I feel like that they have to be related. But again, the static electricity has been nuts. DEX, aid agencies say that they can't send food and other supplies to the Strip because of communications blackout.
Exactly. So the UN and others that are now trying to, or have been, and going through the process of getting, the aid in there over time throughout this entire event. They're now saying, hey, we can't go anymore. The communication blackouts, they're causing paralysis of their ability to transport and move things, so they can't communicate. And because of that, they're not going to be able to bring stuff in. Now, I don't know to what extent that is maybe a plea on one side to try to get that turned back on. Or if it's if there's some truth. I imagine there's a lot of truth to just not being able to communicate and sending trucks and truckloads of water and food and other supplies into an area like that can be difficult. So interesting update coming from them, but this is just as of today they're saying, hey, these blackouts are causing this effect, and it's obviously a heart-tugging experience that they're applying to it.
Yep, and I'm just more worried about the communications blackout that we may have here. And then the JB administration says it can revoke visas of supporters as Republicans urge actions. Now, I'm sure there's going to be folks that actually agree with this, looking at how people have been, but without definitely against Hamas, but there's a thin line. If you just subtracted the actual subject here, and if it took anything, so if the government says, hey, you support whatever cause it is, just put in any other cause, and then say that they could revoke your visas. We talked about this when it was Josh Hawley, right? Josh Hawley, I've been on the side of Josh Hawley when he goes after Facebook, and he always has some sort of, I talked about this on a previous show where he had the postcard, his assistant always puts up a postcard and says, here's information, and he's really good at going on the stand and having some secret information and busting it out in front of everybody and just totally crushing whoever's on the other side of it, and said, oh, we found that you guys had secret software and you knew about it and blah, blah, blah. Here's proof from a whistleblower and this and that. Like, he's definitely going for president 10 years down the road or something. Personally, I see through, I can't help but to think that all these politicians, even on the right or left, they're all have their own agendas. They all pander to whoever their audience is to try to move themselves up. I don't think these representatives care about us. These people that wear $12,000 dresses to Congress, they wear a Toyota to work on a Wednesday. I don't think they represent us very well at all. Even the ones that I agree with, and I'm like, yeah, that's good message, because then they'll turn around and say something like, this person posted something on their online, and that person should be fired, whatever else. But when you start talking about removing visas because of what they support, this one might be a good reason, but the one down the road, if they set the precedent for that, what if it's something that the government is against, but 99% of the people is for? This one is not. But say it's something T-Man related or something related to this or that, and people who support that cause then all of a sudden get sent out. They could easily get rid of people that go against the narrative, that's for sure. There's a lot of things like this going on, too. Now, if you say the wrong thing online, the FCC just took over the effective control over the internet infrastructure. How that happened and no one was talking about it until about 24 hours before it happened is absolutely insane. We are in an information conflict. We are in a hot conflict. We are in all sorts of cyber conflict. And everything is if you're on a certain side, you're losing. And right now, there's a lot going on, and they're using the conflict right now, what's going on over there, and they're getting like things done like left and right. It's like there's fish in a barrel, and those fish are rights and different things, and they're just going pop, 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 pop. Nikki Haley saying that that everybody needs to have a name and address and all this stuff to sign up online and so they can stand by what they say. This is scary stuff, people. And events like this can speed things up 1,000%. And this is exactly what we predicted. This is exactly what the community has been saying for a long time. Oh, they'll do this and then they'll be able to speed up things and bring things in so much faster. I talked about it 2-3 years ago when it says, hey, they have all these goals by 2030. How are they going to do that in 7 years? Heck, it looks like they sped it up. They're going to do it in 2. So it says he has confirmed that it has the authority, the administration has the authority to revoke the visas of foreign nationals who are living in the U.S. but support the T groups. This one is a correct one. If you, and we're not talking about supporting Palestine, supporting that actual group. But again, down the road, you could support something totally different, something that all of us are like, yeah, that's totally right. And then guess what? They could send people out. And then Hope Palestine Group posts an NYC map of locations tied to genocide in the Strip. Globalize the intifada. What does that mean, Dex?
Well, the posting of the map or that last word?
Well, what does it mean? But why are they doing that?
Okay, well, why are they doing it? So they're basically trying to say, here are targets, so to speak, by saying these are locations that we think that are helping the other side. And they're committing that G word against the Strip, so to speak, and they're posting these pamphlets out. So that basically is, calling people to then go to those locations and disrupt them or do something negative to them. This is the kind of stuff that we're at now. The divide is much more than just let's stand in the street and shout, on one side or the other. The organization, the level of organization that's happening, the fact that they're publishing out maps with locations and telling people what to do, what to target. And it's not where to go. It's not just go there and hang out. These are, sort of the targets, which goes right back to the article you just read before, which is supporters. Like, what's the definition of supporters, and what will they expand that notion to? Just rejecting visas. Well, that's fine. That's what are you going to do with all the college kids that are indoctrinated into the system that are jumping on these bandwagons and participating and feeding into this? Or are they going to come up with something else for that? There's a lot of similarities there's a lot of these controversial things that have happened in conflict in the past. We saw some of it in the Gulf times, which would be fresh in our minds because of our ages, and we were here for that. That was mostly targeted though at those T people and where they put them. Yeah, so you go all the way back to say World War II. We did some really strange things with the other side, like with the Japanese, unfortunately, and creating internment places. What's happening here? I'm not saying it's like that, but it is. There is this whole notion about going after the opposition within our country. And if anybody wants to be on that opposing side, they're coming for you. And that's I'm not on the opposing side, but I'm just saying that's what this looks like. And it's really, really interesting.
And the point to make is that you might be on the side of this time, but what about next time? That's the scary thing. Next time, you have to think of the broader action that is being taken, and can it be taken for a future cause a future thing, right? I mean, look at how they framed the January thing, right? Just yesterday, which nobody talked about, 6 Capitol police officers were injured in the thing the other day. I tweeted, I said, are they going to call this some sort of big event? Like, no, they didn't really say much about it at all. I believe more were hurt and injured than the actual day where they said it was a kind of like a 2001 event. Which, again, a lot of folks want the cameras and all the footage of all of that because it definitely paints a separate picture. As far as what is happening here, yeah, you might be on the right side that time. Well, but as far as this goes, yeah, so there's actual sites on the map and things like this. And then all those college kids. All the college kids that are on TikTok right now supporting this. Does that mean somebody who's here for their PhD at Harvard or something that says that they support Palestine, are they going to be sent back now? Heck, there would be a lot of people that would be leaving right now if they took everybody that supported that half. So, but then at the same time, they're going to let anybody come in? That doesn't make too much sense to me. Before we move on, if you want to protect yourself against an EMP, we have covered so many absolutely ridiculous things lately as far as this goes. I hope that people have heeded the advice to get one of these on their vehicles, especially if your vehicle is all digital. If you've ever had a bad microchip or something go wrong with your computer in your car, then nothing works right. But if you have an EMP, then your car just will not run. Everything is digital in all the newer cars. This will ground the signal in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it's able to fry your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, RV, motorhome, whatever it is. If it rolls, or if it's a generator, gas generator, or even solar in the case of the Flex, it will keep it running. So again, marfooglenews.com/EMP. Make sure to use the code MARF. This is one of the best times to do it because you don't wait until after a disaster. You do it before. You don't have to be a mechanic to put this in your car. It takes 10 minutes. Red to red on your battery, black to black on your battery, green to a part of your frame, and then bolt to the side with some self-tappers. It's super easy. Again, marfooglenews.com/EMP, and make sure to use the code MARF. And it protects you against CMEs if we do have a Carrington level event. We had a lot of crazy solar activity, but now somebody said that it's back to calm. We're heading into solar cycle 25. So if you've heard about any of the rumors and chatter about that, then it might be something that would also concern you. And it also protects your house from lightning. All right. And then this is probably one of the bigger things today. And a lot of people, this is a sleeper story. So Sam Altman, the face of AI, out of nowhere was fired. And many people are not going to be too concerned about this, but this is concerning. He was just at APEC with the Chinese leader 2 days ago or 3 days ago with 21 world leaders, and now he's being thrown out. They said that he wasn't giving them enough information, that he was withholding information that essentially took away confidence in him that they needed to know. Strange timing, considering he just basically met with Xi and all these other leaders and spoke in front of APEC. Sam Altman, of course, is in charge of OpenAI, which has been just absolutely crushing it. As far as if you think about a company that's doing well, this is one of them that's absolutely skyrocketing and is on just a trajectory of nuts. And they get rid of the leader at one of the craziest times right now? What the heck? This is super sketch. If you want to call something sus, this would be it. And then they also took the co-founder and they demoted him too. They let him keep his job, but they demoted him off of the thing and left him with his role, but took him off the board. So what is happening with AI? This is a couple days after the FCC thing too. FCC now X, they're trying to take down X and ban X and Twitter. This is happening. All of these things are happening all at once. The rock is rolling down the hill and it's gathering moss, And Indiana Jones isn't going to be able to get out of the way, or the geriatric version of the Indiana Jones, because he can't run fast enough. I don't know. Dex, this is like, why should people be concerned, right?
Well, I think the question is what's happening? Like, why did this happen? Something was going on, and that's the big question. And it's not going to be like, oh, there's some, impropriety with the secretary or something like you hear in the older days of big CEO shakedowns. But this guy was on fire. This guy was, just it's shocking to the community, and everybody's sort of like, whoa, what happened here? Now, here's the quote. The board said, Mr. Altman's departure follows a deliberative review process by the board, which concluded that he was not consistently candid in his communications with the board, hindering its ability to exercise its responsibilities. So in other words, they're saying he's not communicating well enough to them. I mean, the guy who invented communication with AI is not being communicative enough with his board. And that's, that just, it to me, there's something else happening. Either he was on a path and the board didn't like it and they're shutting it down, or the board is on a path and he was not on board with them and wasn't getting in alignment. I even heard that Microsoft was only notified literally minutes before this went out to the press. And Microsoft is the hugest investor, $1 billion invested in this company, OpenAI. And I should say foundation, because technically it is a non-for-profit. But yeah, out of the blue. So something's happening here, folks. And it's when things like this are going on in the AI world, you get even more curious about what it can be. And that's why it's important to pay attention. Most people are like, oh yeah, get rid of them. We don't like AI anyway. Well, yeah, it's not going anywhere. Why? Why is this happening is the real question we need to dig into.
Somebody said, "How, Marv, you got to stop kissing YouTube's butt, and if you're against free speech, then why don't you talk? You need to just go whatever out." I've lost all my friends. All my friends are not here anymore. All of the creators that stop kissing the butt, apparently, they're gone. They don't have reach. Some of them are homeless. I will tell you, there's some big creators that are now homeless, just straight up homeless, living in their cars. Some of them have children like myself, and I've helped a couple of them out. They are just gone. They couldn't get any kind of reach on any of the other platforms. They're just gone. We're in an information war. You don't go into a war wearing a bright yellow vest. First of all, you can say that, and then you can say, oh, well, this person does it. If you see a channel just absolutely going skyrocketing, blowing up, and saying whatever they want, one, that's very suspect, especially if they're going against the narratives of whoever. They might be fitting in something else in there that makes you think a certain way or something. I don't know. That's what everybody accuses everybody of doing. They grow extremely fast compared, like if you see the real channels, they don't. They don't grow. They are stunted. And as far as a lot of these channels have multi-channel networks, they have channel networks that if they get kicked off or if they get a violation, which again, they also give up a lot of their independence, or at least a chunk of their independence, to be a part of that. And that multi-channel network will go argue and fight for them to stay on. We get our same messaging across without triggering some sort of computer somewhere else. It's not about free speech. We say everything we need to. Our long-term audience that's been here for 5 years has seen all of our peers disappear. And I guarantee you, every person here used to watch somebody, and they could probably put 10 creators in the chat right now that they're like, oh, whatever happened to that person? They're gone. They're straight up gone. And you can say that. You could say, well, why do you take that from your boss? Why don't you just go say F you? I guess go tell your boss to F off, see how it goes. Most people will say, yeah, in spirit, I'm totally, Monday morning, I'm going right in there. And then Monday morning comes along and they're like, oh, where do I clock in? You have to, the main importance here is that if I get taken down, all of the community disappears. The community no longer has the community. More of this community is based on people coming in and hanging out with their friends and family and all of the people that they've made friends with. We have people that have been married out of this group. We have people that have married, that have been with each other for years and years. We have people that meet in person. We had a Discord that was also taken down under the guise of this BS thing. We never shared directly anything. We just had state groups. That was taken down under the guise of there was bad information being shared in it. But we never shared a single story. We just provided a place for people to share things. You would think, why don't they just kick the people out that were sharing the bad things? That was right before everybody dropped their thing in the box. That was 4 years ago, almost exactly. And this is the time more than ever that they'll be totally fine for a year and they'll let you say whatever. And then they'll just turn it on. And especially with this FCC thing, all of this other stuff, you're just going to see people disappear left and right. Because once you're gone, you're not coming back. So you can tell somebody all day, yeah, you should stand up for it. But then you stand up for it, but you're speaking to 2 or 3 people then afterwards. You can go, balls to the wall and say whatever. But how long are you going to be around? And if you don't reach anybody, then what use is it? Then I guess you can go out to the street corner and use your free speech, but you're not going to have reach. Because it's less about freedom of speech now, it's freedom of reach. And that is one of the most important things I could say to any new creator is, yeah, you can go and do whatever you want, but you're going to be starting over and over and over and over, and you might just get to the point where you can't. So it's a very sad thing, and I agree with you. But unfortunately, that's not how it can work. Otherwise, everything gets destroyed. Not to mention, it's all of the computers doing it. It's nobody else. And U.S. and Philippines signed landmark nuclear deal. It said the United States and the Philippines on Friday signed a landmark deal that would allow Washington to export nuclear technology and material to Manila, which is exploring the use of nuclear power to decarbonize and boost energy dependence and independence. It says the United States will be able to share equipment and material with the Philippines as they work to develop small modular reactors and other civilian nuclear energy infrastructure. Now, I'm not smart when it comes to this stuff, but as far as the Philippines, so they're going to be able to work with them and try to get all of their nuclear technology up. Sounds like, this sounds like something where they could also probably sneak some stuff in there. I wonder what China's reaction to this will be. It says U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said in a signing ceremony on the sidelines of APEC summit in San Francisco, it says, we see nuclear energy becoming a part of the Philippines by 2032, and we are more than happy to pursue this path with the United States, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said in a speech. Nuclear energy is one area where we can show the Philippines-U.S. alliance partnership truly works. So this is a big step as far as helping them specifically in this area. I'm sure China is not going to like this. So we'll see what happens with this. But it's like, obviously, we're working very close right outside of China. And some people's opinion is that we are actually surrounding China, not the other way around, which it could be true. Working very closely with their partner or their neighbors. And then Dex, do you want to go over Kremlin says Putin or someone else, but guy just like him will win the next spot?
When I saw this, I was thinking of all the doubles they say that's out there, like where they really just saying that it'll be a different Putin that's put in place. But at the same time, joking aside, and it does come across that way in some regards. It came out from Dmitry Peskov. It was in an interview, and he says, no doubt, it will be Putin in the next, will be our next leader. But if it's not, it'll be somebody who's just like him. It'll be the same person, but the different, but the same. In other words, I think what he's really trying to say is somebody who has the same philosophical ideas and the same views on running the government and the same views on top issues like UKR, etc. But it's certainly in my mind when I read it, I thought, yeah, maybe he's talking about the other Putin that probably has a different name but looks just like him.
Carol, yes, you are absolutely correct, and yes, there are a few people that are still around. But again, if they have. You'll notice that a lot of them will have the same rotating advertisements and things. Like we have our own relationship with every affiliate. If you see, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, there's some good channels that are a part of these things, but you'll see like the same, $10 flashlights or the same like diet powder or something. These are all things that are part of that network, basically picks the advertisements for them and just tells them, hey, read this. I don't do that. I'm not gonna sell you a keto diet powder that you don't believe in. I just won't. There's so many million. There's like 1,000 products that I wouldn't represent. Yeah. So that again. So the affiliates that I pick, I have to know that they are really, really good. Otherwise, they'll last 1 week. And then Kremlin says Putin or someone else, but guy just like him. Oh, sorry, you guys. And then explosions rock Sevastopol. Russians issue air raid warning. So they had huge explosions going off in the media and Twitter. What's going to be left of it? Huge explosions and air raid sirens going off. Is this a sign that they are actually hitting inside and that the counteroffensive is doing well? It says that explosions are heard in the occupied city of Sevastopol, Crimea, and the Russians have issued an air raid warning. It says that the occupation authorities of Sevastopol have announced an air raid warning. Anonymous Telegram channels claim that the smoke was rising in the center of Sevastopol and posted photos. It says the occupation authorities confirmed the response to their air defense systems in Sevastopol. They claim to have shot down 2 air targets over northern breakwater. According to them, no damage to infrastructure was recorded. The all clear was given in Sevastopol around 10:07. So the Russian Ministry of Defense claimed that its air defense system had destroyed 2 Neptune anti-ship missiles over the Black Sea near occupied Crimea. So they're saying that they didn't really do any damage. They did say they were anti-ship, so maybe they were going to take out some of their big ships. Last year, this would have been a giant escalation, but now nobody is even paying attention. It's pretty crazy, actually. It's back page stuff now. And then Memphis police chief claims crime is so bad, not even the army can stop it. Crime is so out of control in Memphis that police chief C.J. Davis doesn't think the army can save the day. It says that it's downright appalling. It says, don't know the situation in Memphis is far past bad. It's downright appalling and a stain on the entire country that criminals seen to run to roughshod in a major American city. The situation is so bad that Davis doesn't even think sending in the troops can get the job done at this point. Says, quote, I don't care if we have the entire United States Army here in the city of Memphis. If we continue to see the same individuals committing crimes, arresting our way out of this isn't possible. It says, things are bad when the police chief doesn't think that the army, the greatest in world history, can fix the issue. It says the city is being destroyed. For the record, sending in the troops might be an actual option on the table. State Senator Brent Taylor has floated that this, and with his constituents, want the National Guard sent in, and he asked Governor Bill Lee for state resources. This sounds like it's Gotham City. But I will have to say, in Seattle, if you go to certain parts of Seattle now, it always used to be like, even the toughest neighborhoods in Seattle, it was like, oh, there's New York and Chicago, and like we're nothing compared to them. But there are so many now there's so many murders in all of the major cities. It's absolutely unbelievable. And it's not all just bang bang violence. It's people with shanks. It's this and that. It's just bad. Crime has gotten nuts. And guess whose fault it is? It's not us. Think about this. They completely, in most of these cities, they pulled back police in many of the areas. They defunded huge chunks of all these police departments. And this is what you get. Not to mention, they started arresting people and then just releasing them. I forget what the word is called when they arrest you and then just let you back out. But it was happening left and right. People essentially, and even if the mental thought from these criminals was, oh, well, even if I do get arrested, if they're not afraid of going to jail, or if they know I'm going to just get right back out, they're going to go and do whatever crime they want. And that's the feeling they got, especially all throughout CV. It was like they could shoplift whole shopping carts of stuff. It still happens, even with security now, and now they've like trying to do a 180 on it. Now they have secret shoppers in every store. The grocery store by me, I once a week or so they would have secret shoppers, and because it's like there's 4 people with like an empty basket, and they walk around. You'll come back 3 hours later, they're still there walking around. It's like, this is a grocery store. But now, the one by me, every single day, they have 4 people. For them to hire 4 people just walking around watching people, like, that's insane. But that's how it is in almost every major city. This one literally looks like they need a Batman. They don't need a Superman. They need a Batman to kick some butt. But this is all in a result, in my opinion, this is a result of everything that has happened over the last 5 years. If they're saying that the army couldn't do it, this is bad, people. Now imagine if a real disaster comes. That's the thing I want people to get through their heads. Imagine when a real disaster happens. These places that are already set up, I would not want to be in Memphis. Not when all of this stuff goes down. If people are this bad with law and order, respectfully together, I can't imagine if our grid goes down. So maybe that would be one of the places where you would bug out to the woods, because I don't think you would want to stick around. Dex, go ahead.
Such a shame, because Memphis is
beautiful.
I should say it was beautiful. I've been there. I've had fun there. Beale Street, Miss Polly's, BB King's, Gibson Guitar Factory, musical tours, all that stuff. It's so much fun. But man, I thought it was sketchy back many years ago, but it just sounds horrible now. I wouldn't go there, but it's unfortunate because they're so rich with history.
Is anybody here from Memphis? If you're from Memphis, tell us how it is. Are they wrong? Are they exaggerating it? I highly doubt it, just because I know I live in a major city. Major cities, somebody said in chat, are going to be death traps. I believe it. And that's the thing. So many people look at us like we're nuts for thinking that bad things are coming. Bad thing after bad thing has happened, and each time it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And people think it's going to go smaller? I don't think so. I went to Memphis every other weekend. I hated going. I felt unsafe, says Connie Lee. It's so dangerous that in Whitehaven, the police won't come. Yeah, see, this, what I mean, there was an area in Seattle. It was called the Jungle. And if you've ever been through Seattle, there's a freeway spot. Funny enough, it was across the street from the county jail. And it was on the other side of the freeway. And those huge 20, 30 feet walls that go on the side of the freeways? This is like all above. And there was the Washington Convention Center that's kind of underneath and wrapped around the freeway. There was an area that it was wooded. And if you drive by, it looks beautiful. Oh, there's trees right in the middle of the city. Well, that was a wooded area where all the homeless were. It was so bad. I know local law enforcement, they said, and it's a thing across the board, they would not go in there. They would only go in there with a full SWAT team, and they would go in there with a coroner to get people that have been hurt or, perished. And they would go in there with the coroner, and they would have a full SWAT team, and they would go and coordinate it. But a single cop, even a pair of cops, they said 4 cops, they told them, do not go in there because of how bad it was. So there's areas like that in all sorts of towns, right? And because Seattle's not, as hard as Chicago is crazy, New York's crazy, but there's areas like that all over. Now it seems like you go in main areas. They shut down all of the businesses on 3rd and Pike and Pine, and all these businesses during CV got shut down. None of them have opened back up because the crime is so bad. You see all of these documentaries saying, Portland is dying, San Francisco is dying, Seattle's dying. And they're all correct. This was all done. This was done to us. Somebody said I was sad because I used to have fun at Seattle. Yeah, it's all on purpose. That's my opinion. And then Microsoft releases AI tool for photorealistic copying of faces and voices. Why? It says that Microsoft announced its latest contribution to the artificial intelligence race as its developer conference this week, software that can generate new avatars and voices or replicate the existing appearance and speech of a user. Well, I get why. Your avatar will look exactly like you. The graphics on video games and things are changing. They say in games in a couple years, if you go into a virtual world, it won't be like Zuckerberg's. I almost said Jeff Bezos and Zuckerberg had a baby. But Zuckerberg, his like weird triangle avatars with a floating ball head, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be a real person. You're going to be able to have Zoom calls with a digital avatar in a VR setting and all of this. This is all coming because of this Apple thing. And everybody is going to start doing this. But the bad parts that come with this is not a good thing. The better the graphics get, the worse it's going to be for the information war as well. Because they're going to start claiming that this is fake, that's fake, that you can't believe anything that's video. And that is where they come in and say, you have to give all of your information if you want to be online. Most people go, well, I'm not doing anything wrong online. I'm not committing crimes online. Well, this and that. Just wait until something happens. A leader takes place, or a takeover, or an invasion takes place, and you have a tyrannical government. You're definitely going to want to be able to speak and say your mind without being punished for it. What if something you believe in that's absolutely accepted by 99% of people right now in the future is now banned speech? Are you going to say it with it attached to your name? No. And that's the point. They'll be able to control everything, control speech, control travel, control everything. We just talked about it this week. They're going to be adding things into cars where they can limit your speed remotely. Buy an old car, folks. Keep it in the garage. And then rogue rocket that slammed into the moon last year confirmed to be a Chinese vehicle. What? Dex.
Well, everybody was wondering. They were speculating that it was, and of course, China at the time said no, it wasn't. But now they are confirming that rocket body, and we covered it when it happened back in March of 2022. It basically slammed into the moon onto the far side, and it created a weird double crater about 95 feet wide, and the crash did not come as a surprise because everybody had been tracking it. Like, everybody knew it was there, but they weren't. There was a lot of questions as to who it belonged to, and nobody really wanted to own up to it. Turns out it was China, and that's what they're claiming now. The paper was presented. They put together all of the data and proved that it was theirs. So was it planned? Was it something that went wrong, or or did they actually mean to push something to that side and slam it into the moon itself? Of course, the open narrative is it was just a failure on their part.
Yeah, something doesn't seem right with the whole China and the far side of the moon. What do you think China's doing on the far side of the moon? Of course, they've talked a lot about how they were the first ones to land there, blah, blah, blah. I know some of you don't believe they've gone at all. But again, if they have landed there, and if they're continually doing this, they have their own space station now. What do you think they're actually doing in space? They've said that there's a space war going on above us. Do you believe that? Let me know in the comments down below. Jason Cohn, and Crafty You, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Morals or Morals? I don't know if I say that right. Morals 22 says Bahamas destroyed into pieces. Look and see. Yeah, we've actually posted some of that stuff, and it's pretty crazy. And then thank you, Morals 22. I appreciate that. Bible Talk 777. Thank you. You can search that on marfooglenews.com and find the different stuff we posted about that. And then Bible Talk 777. I sold my DNA to a company for male enhancement meds. Like muscle or muscle? Either way, I guess why? Huh. Well, that's interesting. Hopefully it didn't get hacked like 23andMe. Bible Talk 777 says, if I was Jewish, I wouldn't chance an operation from a recent graduated doctor that supports T's. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get you. So if somebody from Yale or Harvard or whatever became a doctor and they supported that group, you wouldn't go there. Yeah. I don't think there's many people except for Gen Z will say they would. Samuel Turner, I'm truly amazed at the stupidity of 95% of the U.S. population. Even the warning and news I give my family and friends, they look at me like I need to be committed. The herd mentality is alive. They think the biggest risk is having T-Man as a president again. And I'm not a worshiper of T-Man. I've called out all the stuff. He started the thing that everybody took. But geez, that's the biggest worry. Why are people still talking about him if it's 4 years ago, nearly 4 years ago? It's insane. Thank you guys. I appreciate all your support tonight. And Viv B, thank you. Ask a long distance trucker which cities they will absolutely not stay overnight at truck stops. My hubby trucker says Memphis and Atlanta are two of the worst, but many other cities added to that list now. Hey, by the way, Viv B, have your husband leave a message on 224400 MARF. Option 3, if you are a trucker, that was actually originally our trucker line, because a lot of truckers see all sorts of stuff all around the country. If you have interesting knowledge about the country that you want to share, leave a message on that line and we'll play it on the show. We've got a couple good ones that we were going to play probably next week. So make sure to tune in. And make sure to subscribe. Everybody is saying that our subscribe is not working, that every time they subscribe, they refresh, and all of a sudden it unsubscribes. So make sure to check that, see if it actually works. If you've been subscribed and watching for years, I would double check and then press the notifications bell if you can. I would tell you to like and all that, but most people don't want to be told to like something. If you like the show, then press that button. We would appreciate it. I don't know if it even works anymore, but if it helps, but if you can, that would be much appreciated. We put a lot of work into everything. Also, again, lots of work into making sure that you have all of the sources for everything that we talk about. Speaking of which, Dex, let's go over the web only. And again, guys, make sure to go check out Energy. You can get one of the best solar generators. Like I said, we only represent products that we absolutely believe in. Again, this is one of the best solar generators on the market, and I believe with all of the mods they're coming out with, I don't think anything can touch this, because if there's a single weakness or a single con, which again, there's mods for that. So they have fixed any con when they first came out with this with a mod. So you can make this a customized system of your dreams, or you can have it as a portable unit that you just take with you and use your tools at work where you don't have an extension cord. It stores power from solar panels or from your wall. So when we do have power, it's easy to charge this thing, especially with things like the UPS rapid charger. You can charge a battery 1,000 watt hours in about 40 minutes, which is absolutely insane. That normally takes about 4 hours with good sun, or 3.5 hours with good sun. That's huge. So make sure to go check that out. And again, marfuglenews.com/energy, INERGY. And make sure to use the code Marfoogle. All right, Dex, let's go over the
Absolutely.
web
Real
only.
quick, Bible Talk 777 did another super and said it was just a joke. He was trying to help brothers. And then April Sky jumped in at the last second. And April, thank you so much. She said regolith and ytterburium, which I'm sure I am mispronouncing it, whiterburium, are said to be mined on the moon.
Ytterbium?
Yeah, it's bium. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I can't either.
Yeah.
Sounds like something little John would
R.
make up, like ytterbium, yitter, and regolith. Regolith?
Regolith.
David and regolith.
Now I'm curious. I'm going to have to look them up.
All right.
But anyway, hey, we're talking about the overflow, the rest of the story. If you're not going there, you're missing out. Folks, it's a click away. Hit the show notes link down below in the description, or just type in marfuglenews.com into your browser. Click on today's thumbnail for the show and scroll down till you find this yellow bar. It says overflow. After you pass on everything that we just showed you, all the sources, everything we've talked about is there. Get to the yellow bar, the rest of the story. Updates on what's going on with Elon and how he's trying to contain the damage. We talked extensively about that over on news. You got to go check out that video. It's very important to understand what's happening right now, not just to his network, but others. The former First Lady Rosalind Carter is now entered hospice, and I guess she's doing it alongside her husband, because we reported he entered it a long time ago, and I would have thought that that's not something that would have taken this long. And so that's going on. So that's new news. There's a lot of other stuff going on around the world. We've got it covered, everything from Russia to the Middle East, some stuff going on with China and Japan. It's all there, as well as the political coverage. So if you're looking for the updates on the political side, lots happening there. Check it out. We put it together for you every night. And for those of you that are worried about your hair, scientists have printed 3D hair follicles, so they're raising the hopes of a cure for baldness. I don't know how that would work, but maybe it's a cure. We'll see. That and a lot more. It's all there on the website, marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail for the show or hit that show notes link down below in the description. We do it for you, not for us, but for you every night.
Thank you guys and much love. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. Be safe, be prepared, and marf out. Looks like Samuel Turner is our top supporter tonight. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody that shares our stuff out. I appreciate you. Over on D Live, thank you, and thank you to everybody who keeps that family alive. Cutie Pie Angelica, thank you, Kiki Gray, Scooby Doo Do Right, Cinny, Beer Juice, Kimbria, Poco Loco. Let's make a fresh one for Samuel Turner. This one might be a little cut short because it is late.